Alright guys, today we are going to be taking the left values political quiz. I've noticed some of my viewers have been going back to my earlier political quiz, like the 8 values, 9 axes, etc. So we're going to be taking the left values today. Links to all of my social media down in the description below. Let's just get right into it. Yep, let's go. Revolution is the best way of achieving a socialist society. Disagree, or kind of neutral. Don't really want a full-on socialist society because that has its downsides too, mainly a centralized government. The principles of workplace democracy and self-management are desirable. Strongly agree. It is acceptable for humanity to suffer to some notable extent in order to preserve the natural ecosystem. Kinda neutral. Marriage is a patriarchal social construct that should be phased out. Neutral or agree? I'm not really sure on this one. I will go neutral. Reforming capitalist society to achieve better rights for workers is desirable. Reforming capitalist society. Now this is an answer for the liberals. So going neutral or disagree. I mean, we want to reform capitalist society, but I'll go neutral. I'm not sure. Measures to address environmental issues are unacceptable if they result in significant decreases in production and quality of life. Um, Disagree or neutral. I'm going neutral on this one. Prisons are oppressive and antiquated institutions that need to be abolished. Kind of neutral on this. There are problems with prisons, but I think we should reform the prison system. I'm more for reform. Some small-scale destruction of nature is acceptable if it notably benefits humanity. Neutral. The negative consequences of a revolution generally outweigh the advantages. Neutral, because someday there will be a revolution. I don't think the government will get away with what they're doing forever. It is necessary to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat as a transitionary stage between capitalism and socialism. No, strongly disagree. It is foolish to expect renewable energy sources to be able to replace fossil fuels. Disagree. The establishment of socialism is a gradual process rather than an instant or rapid one. I agree. Workplace democracy within capitalism is an acceptable alternative to a complete socialization of the economy. Neutral. If we, it's kind of like a switchover. I'm not for 100% socialism. I don't think that socialism should take over. Democratic socialism is really what I support, and I think we should go towards that, but not full on socialism. Socialism has its problems, especially a centralized government, which I do not like. I think the government is far too centralized as it is. Or, I mean, you gotta have, for businesses, you gotta have, regulation and things like that. So, I'm not really sure. But don't want too centralized of a government like what they got in China. Don't want nothing like that. Don't want to go to communism. But work is an acceptable alternative to a complete socialization of the economy. I'll go neutral. Foreign officials have no right to dictate policy in another country. Strongly agree. A highly centralized planned economy is not socialism, but rather state capitalism. Strongly agree. Democratic centralism is an authoritarian organizational structure that disregards the masses. Agree. The international proletariat belongs to no country. Unsure. Capitalism will induce its own demise through contradictions that result in crisis. Agree. Capitalism will have its downfall. It will inevitably uh, just just end itself. That's what I believe. So, a socialist revolution is made inevitable by the conditions of capitalism. Agree. I don't want full-on socialism, but the way things are with capitalism and the wealth gap, there will probably be a socialist revolution. So I agree. Open borders between like-minded socialist countries is desirable. Agree, but I think we should have open borders to all countries. The government should be capable of assigning individuals to workplaces. Disagree. Why would they do that? Why? You cannot achieve a socialist society without also making significant social progress. I kind of agree. Class conflict is a force that has influenced much of human history. Yeah, probably. A world socialist republic is a realistic and desirable goal. Disagree because I think that's on the grounds of one world centralized government. People of similar cultures should unite in federations or confederations. Unsure. Socialist political parties should participate in liberal democratic elections. Agree. Bureaucracy and inefficiency are always inherent in centrally planned economies. Uh, Centrally planned economies. Unsure. Humanity must return to the primitive. Strongly disagree. Strongly. We must accept that the socialist states of the 20th century failed to seriously address environmental issues. Unsure. Redistributing wealth away from the wealthy through taxes is a viable way of defeating inequality. Agree. Traditional gender roles such as women being homemakers need to be overcome. Strongly agree. We must radically alter our food consumption in order to limit the exploitation of nature. Agree to an extent. Total economic and social equality is realistically possible to achieve. Agree. National liberation or self-determination for all peoples is a good concept. National liberation. Exactly how far are we going with this? There has to be some order within society. There has to be there has to be laws, there has to be rules and things. Otherwise, it's just complete chaos. That's why we have laws and things. That's why murder's illegal, rape, etc. So I'm going to go neutral on this because, first of all, I don't 100% understand exactly what it means. And second of all, 100% liberation just leads to chaos. It is possible to peacefully convince the ruling class to conform to a socialist society. Yeah, through voting. Uh, if we keep implementing progressive things to reform the voting system, we could eventually probably get to a more democratic socialist society. So I agree to an extent. The leadership of political parties and the progression towards socialism will always lead to authoritarianism. Disagree. Maybe not necessarily. An economy is generally designed better when it is organized bottom up rather than top down. Strongly agree. Human population growth must be curbed to prevent an ecological disaster. Human population growth? United States is not overpopulated. Anyone tells you that doesn't have any sense. Alright, so human population growth must disagree. A centrally planned economy based around computers is a concept worth investigating. Strongly disagree. Economy based around I don't trust it. I don't trust AI. Socialism can only be fully achieved in developed industrial societies. Neutral. Modern social democracy is betrayal of left-wing values. Kinda agree. The liberals are idiots. Society is chiefly driven by individuals and ideas. Strongly agree. Nationalism and patriotism are impulses that are unacceptable in a social society. Agree to an extent. Patriotism is better than. I don't think patriotism should be unacceptable. I mean, you can be proud of your country, but if you're a nationalist, you're kind of. Minority populations should receive special legal protections. Neutral, agree. Neutral, agree. Agree. Religions overall have a mostly positive effect and should remain influential in society. Now, I support freedom of religion. However, I do not think that most religions have a very positive effect on society. I think if as long as it ain't extremism, like the Muslim religion's pretty peaceful, and like Hinduism, those two seem like be the most peaceful, but or most positively. But I'll go neutral on this because I don't think all religions have mostly a positive effect. Trade unions and workers' councils should form the basis of a socialist country. Society. Agree. Local planners rather than national planners are more efficient at running a planned economy. Strongly agree. State powers, more state power, more to the states. That's, a lot of democratic social. I don't know about democratic socialists, but a lot of socialists would disagree with this. But I don't think we need a centralized government. Industrial farming practices must be abolished, even if it leads to lower outputs. Industrialized. I kind of agree on this one because have you seen industrialized farming? It's really inhumane. The means of production, such as factories and farms, must be publicly owned. Agree. Personal motor vehicles such as cars should be replaced with free public transport. Neutral, I think someone should have the right to own a car, but free public transport is a decent idea, except for I live down in the holler. How am I going to get free public transport? I need a car. So, yeah. I'm actually going to go disagree on this because we are far away from just getting rid of motor vehicles altogether. Because what about all the rural areas? The state can be best defined as a monopoly on violence and oppression. Disagree. I do not see the state as that. Material conditions and needs are the dominant drive behind socio-economic changes. Strongly agree. Liberal democracy is a viable way of achieving a socialist society. And disagree. No, disagree. No liberals. Revolutionary violence is acceptable as long as the final outcome is positive. Disagree. I don't think violence is the answer. A socialist government has no right to disrupt religious or cultural traditions in any situation. Neutral. Socialist organizations are generally better off when organized loosely and decentrally. Better off when organized. Strongly agree. Mass spontaneous actions are more effective than carefully planned actions. Mass spontaneous actions more effective than carefully planned actions. Disagree. Think planning's better. Abortion is an immoral act that should be banned or significantly limited. I wouldn't call it immoral. I think there should be limits on it, but I will go neutral. Any socialist country should be dedicated to exporting their ideology abroad. Disagree. That just sounds like imperialism. The global socialist movement should be led by a single party or organization. Strongly disagree. No. In underdeveloped societies, a centrally planned economy is the best way to make rapid progress. Disagree. Decentralize. Or I'll go neutral because I'm not too sure about that one. Only a mass workers' party can achieve any meaningful long-term goals. Kinda agree. It will be important to implement extensive environmental protections as part of achieving socialism. Kinda agree. Policies that enable mass immigration are naive and should not be implemented. Strongly disagree. Immigration is good. Trade unionism has been largely corrupted by the ruling class and is no longer a viable structure for a socialist government organization. Neutral, I would say. I mean, the ruling class really has messed things up, but I'm not too sure about that. I would be willing to sacrifice economic resources in my home country in order to help other countries. Neutral. That's kind of what's going on in like the Ukraine-Russian thing because we cut oil production with Russia, and I would say I agree. I say I agree. The fact that so many workers vote for Borgias parties over socialist parties is proof that party politics are no longer relevant. I disagree. I think people are just very poorly educated. Experimental, environmentally friendly food sources like cultured meat are worth investing in. Agree. From each according to his abilities, each according to his needs is a good principle. No, disagree. Climate change is a major global threat that all socialists must fiercely combat. Neutral. Oppressed peoples have the right to engage in a violent uprising when all other options have been exhausted. Neutral. The oppression of LGBTQ plus people is a major issue that needs to be seriously addressed. Agree to an extent. I mean, I am neutral on revolution and reform, neutral on scientific and utopian. I'm more utopian. I'm very decentralist. I am more national than international. I don't know about that. I'm more party than union. I am more nature rather than production. I'm much more progressive than conservative. I'm left-wing nationalism. Next would be democratic socialism. Left-wing nationalism. How am I a left-wing nationalist? I'll take democratic socialism. Centrist Marxism. What's centrist Marxism? A form of Marxism that adopts Marxist views on society and economy while also refraining from taking a definite position on revolution and reformism. Many centrist Marxists may also be more nationalistic than other Marxists. I'm not a nationalist. Stop calling me a nationalist. Social democracy, not a social democrat. Market anarchism, anarcho-communism, utopian socialism, council communism, eco-anarchism, orthodox Marxism, left communism, eco-Marxism, Marxism-Leninism. I am not a left-wing nationalist. Democratic socialist I will take. 93%. That concludes this video. I don't know why I'm considered a nationalist. But yeah, thank you for watching. Try not to kill each other, and peace.